Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be looking at this 6-game main slate on Thursday night. We have a separate video out for the early slate, so if you haven't checked that one out yet, make sure you hop on over there. But for now, just this main slate at night. I'm not going to get too much into the weather here. I do record these the night before, but it looks like we might have slight rain concern. So make sure you're paying attention to that. It can change overnight. It might not be anything. It might turn into something. So check that out. And also just make sure you're paying attention to any late scratches that might be happening as we get close to lock. This slate, pitching-wise, is pretty gross. We have had much better. We've also had worse. So look at that on the bright side. But it's just not a good pitching slate at all. So we'll go through the pitching. It won't take too long just because there's really not much to talk about. VALDEZ, he's up at the top. He's going up against Minnesota, a Minnesota team. You know, they lost Nelson Cruz at the deadline, so not nearly as threatening as an offense. But, you know, VALDEZ, 9.9K. He doesn't strike many guys out. His strikeout rate on the season is hovering around like 21%. So it's not good. We definitely want more of a strikeout upside or a strikeout pitcher when – you know, we're going to be paying nearly 5 figures for him. But compared to the rest of the pitchers on the slate, he's probably not that bad of an option. One concern, or one big concern that I do have for him, is his walk rate. His walk rate goes up quite a bit, and he's not done well lately. Look at this. 2 of his past 4 starts, he's had 6 walks in them. So his control has been erratic at times. Ground ball pitcher, but, you know, I'm not saying he's a fade, but you just have to have some caution with him here. You're going to have caution with every single pitcher on this slate. Sonny Gray, he's up next. He's going up against Pittsburgh. Gray has the highest strikeout rate on the season of any of the pitchers here, but he's around like 30%, that magical 30% that we want. There might be just a touch shy of it. But, you know, he's going up against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh just doesn't strike out often as a team. It's pretty incredible. You know, they don't have the greatest offense, but they don't strike out at all either. They have one of the, I think it's the second or third lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching in the entire majors in the past month. So, you know, I don't expect him to have a high strikeout game here, but, you know, if he can get you 6 strikeouts, he can go deep into games. He had a blip here against St. Louis, but, you know, other than that, he's been pretty well on the season, pretty consistent. So I think I would take him as my favorite pitcher on the slate. Stripling, he's interesting. He's had his struggles, 100%. He has had his struggles this season, but he is going up against Cleveland. And we were just talking about how Pittsburgh doesn't strike out against right-handed pitching. Cleveland actually strikes out the most in the entire majors against right-handed pitching in the past month, at least. So starting from July 1st until now, they have the highest strikeout rate in the majors against right-handed pitching at 27.5%. So he could have one of his better strikeout games here. 8.8K. He's not going to kill you with salary at all. But if he can get you 6, 7, maybe even 8 strikeouts and pitch an average game for him, you know, he's going to be hitting his value for sure. But we always have to remember his floor is pretty low. So that is a threat and a concern for him and a concern for pretty much every single pitcher on this slate. And then we kind of hit a break. You know, VALDEZ, Gray, Stripling, clearly I think they're the 3 clear best options on the slate. Everybody else, you're really playing with fire here. McKenzie, he is a high strikeout, high walk rate, high home run rate against kind of pitcher. You know, he is shooting for the moon and getting you 30 DK points, or he is just getting torched and giving you -2. There really isn't too much in between for him on this season. With a high strikeout rate and a high walk rate, he's done better here, but overall, high strikeout, high walk rate. You know, his pitch rate does go up pretty high, pretty quick when you're just working deep in accounts on every single batter. So you can see, you know, 4 innings, 83 pitches, 6 innings, 87, 93, 4 innings. So, you know, his pitch count can get up there. It's tough for him to get deep into games. But if he's mowing guys down, who cares? He's going to get you 20 some points. He's going to get you 3 times salary, but this is a GPP play at best. Cortez for New York. Everybody else from here on down, it's just GPP at best. You know, there's really not a true cash guy. Probably Sonny Gray, and that's probably it. He's probably your one cash safe play. VALDEZ obviously could be there, but it's gross. Cortez, you know, he's not going too deep into games. So going up against Seattle, it's a good matchup for him. 7.9K, I think he's a little pricey. I would like him a whole lot better if he was back to his previous salary. Even at 6.6, I think he would be a way better play. But at near 8K for a guy who's, you know, going to get you 70 pitches, maybe 5 innings, maybe if he's pitching really well, and still after all that only gets you maybe 2 times salary, it's tough. I just think he's priced too high here. Seattle on the other side. On the other side, Anderson, he's going up against the Yankees. The Yankees absolutely mash left-handed pitching. Their splits between left-handed pitching and right-handed pitching in the past month is just insane. They're like the #1 team against left-handed pitching in terms of offense by a wide margin. And they're like one of the worst teams in the league against right-handed pitching. But then their offense just meets in the middle. But so I'm completely off with Anderson here just because the Yankees smash. TOUSSAINT, he's another guy. He's got a high strikeout rate on the season. He's had a high strikeout rate kind of throughout his career. He had 2 great starts to start the season here. Well, his season, but this is a career pitcher. I think he's at like around like 100 innings pitched in his career in the majors right now. Career ERA is close to 6, even with these 2 great starts. So, you know, he's not a great pitcher. Obviously, if you want to throw him in a GPP just because of his strikeout upside, go for it. I can't complain too much about that, given the other matchups on the slate, or the lack thereof. Keuchel for Chicago, you know, his ceiling is 14, so I'm not too interested in him. Will CROWE, he had a decent start. He's had 2 decent starts in a row here. I'm kind of throwing away this one here. 6 innings, 1 hit against, no earned runs against Philadelphia. If you read the analysis down here, nearly half of his 92 pitches were balls. So he was having some command issues, and you know, somehow this must have been the luckiest 6-inning 1-hit performance ever. So I'm not too interested in him here. I think it was a fluke. Yeah, LeBlanc, Lynch, no. Lynch going up the White Sox. I think he was the guy, if you remember back in May, who just got obliterated. Yeah, 2 outs, 8 earned runs, negative 19.3. I wonder if that's the lowest we've seen all season. It's got to be close. He bounced back though, had a 27 here, but no. But that was back when Chicago White Sox were good against the left-handed pitching. Lately, it's been a serious struggle. So do they get back in form? We'll see. So as you can see, pitching's pretty gross. You got VALDEZ, Gray, Stripling. I like Gray. He's probably my favorite cash option, even probably my favorite GPP option as well. Stripling, I think he's really intriguing. I do like him just with how much Cleveland does strike out. VALDEZ is fine. TOUSSAINT, GPP, McKenzie, he's got that ceiling possibly higher than anybody, but he also has a floor lower than anybody. And everybody else is just kind of there. So let's go through here. Let's go through the batch real quick. Seattle and New York. Seattle, the only guy I would be interested in would be Haniger. You can possibly make a case for Torrens, but Haniger is probably your best option going up against Cortez here. So 5.2K is pretty pricey, but if you want a one-off for him, that's fine. But other than that, I don't really have too much interest in Seattle. Yankees, though, I mentioned they just crush left-handed pitching. Since July 1st, their team batting average is over 300. I think it's around 310 or 311 when I checked earlier. Their on-base plus slugging is near 1,000. Their WRC plus is like 165. It's just insane numbers that they've been putting up. So I love, and now they've added in Rizzo and they've added Gallo. Well, I don't like Gallo against left-handed pitching. So I'm going to be off him. But, you know, Judge, absolutely. LeMahieu, Rizzo. They did get a price bump So not too thrilled about that. But Rizzo, even being a lefty, has great numbers. Stanton 4-3, he's cheap. But pretty much anybody, for these Yankees, I think they're going to have a nice night here. Cleveland, like I said, I have interest in Stripling, so I don't have too much interest in Cleveland, just how much they strike out. On the Toronto side, you can pretty much anybody. I don't have any issues with pretty much anybody. Guerrero, Bichette, Springer, Semien, the Springer dingers in the top of the first inning. He's been leading off like crazy with multiple home runs lately to start off the Toronto offense. But Toronto, I think they're good. They're priced up pretty high, so it's going to be tough to fit them in, especially if you are sticking near the top at the pitching. But I do like them. Pittsburgh, like I said, I like Gray, so I'm not too interested in those bats. On the Cincinnati side, you're definitely looking at Votto and just the insane run he's been on. You're definitely looking at Winker. India is not too bad. I'm just looking at who else we like here. Probably go with Naquin. There he is. I could not find him. Naquin, those probably be your three. Go with the lefties. India, he doesn't have bad numbers either. Stevenson. So Cincinnati at home, like I said, I don't think they're going to be too popular. I think maybe, Will Crow's recent form is going to scare at least some people away, maybe the casuals away. But I think Cincinnati at home going against Crowe, I think he just got lucky in his last start. I think they're probably going to go lower owned. So Cincinnati stack, I do not mind at all. And if you put a guy in like Naquin, it can be a nice salary relief for you. Kansas City, going up against Keuchel. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been too interested in Kansas City all season long. On the Chicago White Sox side, I did mention they did get to Lynch, but that was 3 months ago. That was a long time ago. We can't look at that at all. Just with everything that has changed. That's when the White Sox were the best team in the entire league against left-handed pitching. I remember we were stacking them every single slate every time they played against left-handers. But lately, it has been a serious struggle with this offense. Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, they've really been struggling to swing the bat, especially to the rate of a 5.6 and a 5.8 K range. I just think they're way overpriced with how they're hitting. So it shouldn't be too popular, but Anderson, Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, they're fine. Andrew Vaughn, he's your best option for some salary relief here. I just hate that. A lot of the good salary is in the outfield, or salary value is in the outfield, but it is what it is. But Andrew Vaughn, I do like Chicago White Sox here. Vaughn would be my favorite value. Minnesota and Houston. Minnesota, I'm not on because of VALDEZ, and just there's so many other better options in the bats. On the Houston side, you'd probably go with Brantley, he's cheap. Tucker, he's cheap. Yordan Alvarez, he's cheap as well. It's the outfield. It's the lefties of Houston that are they're really doing very well. Altuve is having a phenomenal season. 5.2. He's cheaper, so maybe a Houston stack wouldn't kill you at all. And then in this final game, I definitely go with Atlanta. Ozzie Albies against left-handed pitching is a machine. In his past 3 months, he's hitting 426. 426 in over a 3-month span against left-handed pitching. Even if you go just to the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's hitting 357. So at 4.9, he's probably going to be one of my favorite options. I think I cored him a couple videos ago, just because he was going up against left-handed pitcher. So Albies, he's in a great spot. Freeman, he honestly doesn't have the best numbers on Atlanta, all things considered, even just with how good he is as a hitter. But going with Albies, going with Riley, Soler, he's far too cheap. Again, another outfielder. I apologize. But at 3.3, he's been very popular, and he's hit a couple home runs, so we're happy with him. But that kind of wraps up the slate here. So pitching's pretty gross. VALDEZ, Gray's my favorite. VALDEZ, he's fine. Stripling, I think it's very intriguing with how much Cleveland strikes out. McKenzie, boomer bust. You're hoping for the 30-point ceiling, but be expected for the -5 floor. Toussaint, he's got a nice strikeout upside, but again, he's a career 6 ERA pitcher, so don't have too much interest there. And just everybody else is just kind of around. As for bats, New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and then I would probably go with the White Sox. But those are kind of the core 4 or core 5. These would be the core 4. Chicago White Sox, just because they haven't been doing well lately. But again, maybe you want to be on the train before everybody else. They've lost all their ownership just because they haven't been hitting the ball very well. All right, so that kind of wraps things up. Again, we do have another video out for the early slate, so check that out. Hit that subscribe button, thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. Good luck in your contest, and I'll see you in the next video.